Samaria.
Cuneiform is a system of writing first developed by the ancient Sumerians of Mesopotamia in 3500 to 3000 BC. It's inscribed on clay tablets. It is considered most significant of writing. Dictionary.com describes it as denoting or relating to the wedge-shaped characters used in the ancient writing systems of Mesopotamia, surviving mainly impressed on clay tablets.
Hello, and welcome to Geography with Maddie. I'm Maddie Vertucci, coming to you live from our headquarters in Samaria. I just came back from visiting the Tigris and Euphrates rivers, also known as the birthplace of the Sumerian civilization. The Sumerians dug irrigation ditches that carried river water to their fields and allowed them to produce a surplus of crops. These rivers also helped them travel to the Persian Gulf, where they could trade with other civilizations. The Sumerians had no natural defense barriers, so they built walls made of mud bricks around their city. The people of Samaria had unpredictable flooding with periods of little to no rain. The natural resources of Samaria were somewhat scarce. That is it for Geography with Maddie. Now,
thank you for that, Maddie. Now let's go to Tara, interviewing Maddie Smith, a political scientist.
Maddie, what do the society's religious beliefs reveal about its worldview?
The Sumerians were very much like other civilizations in the Fertile Crescent. They believed in more than one god, which is called polytheism. They believed that many different gods controlled all of the forces of nature, and that certain gods would control certain forces of nature. They also believed that there were certain gods that were more powerful than the regular gods, so they feared them more. This made them think that if they performed sacrifices to these gods, that they would make good things happen to them and ensure them safe afterlives and make them have good lives. And so their view on life was that they must please these gods in order to live happily lives and live on to have peaceful afterlives.
What is the relationship between economic specialization and social stratisfaction?
Sumeria had social classes. Kings, landholders, and priests all made up the highest rank in the social class. The next ranked were the merchants. Many Sumerians worked in the fields or in their own shops. The lowest ranked were the slaves. Slaves were mostly either foreigners captured at war, or they were Sumerians that were sold into slavery as children to pay the debts of their poor parents. The social classes in Samaria affected both men and women. Women could work as artisans, merchants, and farmers. They could also join the priesthood and own land in their own names. Sumerian records show there were very few female scribes, even though many upper-class women had the opportunity to learn to read and write. The Sumerian culture actually had a lot more rights for women than many later civilizations.
How are political methods used to create order and stability in society?
Political methods that the Sumerians used to create order and stability in their society were that they had a code of laws. This code of laws would help to create stability in their society. Their laws were very similar to the well-known set of laws written by Cammurabi. For instance, there was a law in the code of the Sumerian laws that said if a man were to kill a man, that man would be killed. This is very similar to Hammurabi's an eye for an eye law.
How was Samaria governed?
The Sumerians usually were governed by a king or a ruler that was a war hero.
That was great, Maddie. Now let's go to my report about economy. The economy of Samaria consisted of trade, agriculture, and special workforces. Jobs consisted of pottery makers, stone cutters, bricklayers, metalsmiths, farmers, fishers, shepherds, weavers, leather workers, and sailors. Sumerians traded with other civilizations in Mesopotamia. We know this because of artifacts found with materials that weren't made such from that place. Sumerians traded fish, reeds, mud bricks, wheat, and barley in exchange for stone, wood, and metals. Depending on different goods, trade transportation was used in different ways. Boats were used to ship items. Once the wheel was invented in 3000 BC, trading became easier by transporting goods on land. Sumerian economy was based on agriculture. They grew barley, chickpeas, lentils, wheat, dates, onions, garlic, lettuce, leeks, and mustard. They practiced the same irrigation techniques as in Egypt. After the flood season and after the spring equinox and the New Year festival, farmers would use canals to flood then drain their crops. Flooding their crops would help fertilize the soil. The Sumerians harvested in the spring. In the early Sumerian period, pictograms suggest that sheep, goats, ox, and donkeys had been domesticated. The sheep and goats were used for woolen clothing and rugs. Oxen were their primary beast of burden or animal used to carry heavy loads or pulling heavy equipment. Donkeys were also used for transportation. We will be right back after this break.
It's supposed to be Vertucci.
We are back now with Kaylee Moore as the archaeologist.
Hi, I'm Kaylee Moore and I'm your archaeologist for today. So, locals found this stone tablet from the Sumerians a few days ago, and our scientists are looking more on it, but me being the archaeologist, I have some information on it. This seemed to be made 6,000 years ago. The Sumerians of Mesopotamia describes these planetarian events on these stones, which happened billions of years ago and which gave our solar system its current configuration, which is fashioning our own planet in process. Sumerian records also mention advanced human cloning technology. I don't think we're cloning it, but these stones tell us we are. An additional existence of our planet in our solar system. We will have more news and facts about this stone tablet shortly, but another artifact we have found is the ancient Sumerian beads or jewelry. This bracelet seems to be made or created by the Sumerians in 3000 to 2000 BC. Sumerians valued their jewelry very much. This was a sign of status and wealth. Each bead was carved with great care, as you can see here, and drilled through with a pinpoint, very accurately. A stunning achievement gave the technology available at the time. Most retained their original creamy white, black base color. Gold and silver, probably imported from mines in modern-day Turkey and Iraq, were also used for Sumerian jewelry. Sumerian jewelry makers were the first to use techniques like filigreed, but it was simple and not very fine forms. So we'll have more information on this bracelet. Okay, and lastly is our dagger. This was found a few days ago also by locals, and we're still researching more about this, but what I know from what we have so far from finding it, there were several of these. These were used many times throughout daily lives, living in Sumeria by the with the Tigris, or by the Tigris Euphrates. They used these to They use these in ceremonial, and they weren't intended for combat, so they weren't used to hurt things and stuff like that. So that is my update for Sumerian artifacts for today. I'm Kaylee Moore, and I'll see you later.
Hi guys, Hi, I'm Kaylee Moore here today. What am I called again? Start over. Alright, a calcite jar. It was a form of Egypt. That's not even right. It's not even right. Okay, take two. One last artifact here on my list is the Sumerian man.
Sumerian.
Alright, one last artifact found on my list is the Sumerian. Artifact on my list is the Sumerian man. One more artifact found here is the Sumerian. One last. Yeah, I do.
Yeah, Betty.
Okay, ready? Last artifact on my list is the Sumerian. Last artifact on my list is the Sumerian.
This has been a Cammurabi production.
Thank you for joining us.